I was to have a conversation with my friends and be like, look, we're not black. We could be Haitian. We could be, Swahili. We could be all this other origin.
Well, remember, those are just nationalities. So that's not your true essence either, right? So if you're Haitian, Nigerian, all of these words, these names did not exist 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. They're all superficial. There was no Muslims 5,000 years ago. There was no Christians 5,000 years ago, right? There was no Haitians, Jamaicans, Puerto Ricans, because none of those lands were identified as that. So what were you in the beginning? And I would argue we were African, we were Ethiopian, we were Alkebalanian. These are all some of the oldest words that our ancestors used to define themselves. And I believe that we can use any of them now to define. I agree with you. We are not a color. But the reason I do not object to us using the word black is because although I prefer African or Ethiopian to indigenous words of the continent, I don't object to black, because when you say you are black, there is no confusing you with any other people on the planet. Everybody on earth knows who the black people are. Now, the reason why black has become more common than African is because we got a lot of Africans running around claiming they're not African. You understand? So that's why black becomes a catch-all for the original people of the planet, because so many of us, due to self-hate and miseducation, refuse to identify with who we are. Let me give you, and then you have white folks who will call themselves African because they were born there, and because African people, just like African American people, have a colorblind orientation that is destructive to our whole political agenda, we will let whites and Arabs and East Indians call themselves an African, but you can never call yourself a European. You can never call yourself an Indian. You can never call yourself an Arab, but we will let them call themselves African. So then that kind of messes with the identity too, because you got these people who are not African, but black people are allowing them to call themselves African. But when you say black, everybody knows who black people. There's no confusing black people with anybody else. You can play games with any other word, but you cannot play games with the word black. And for me, from a spiritual perspective, blackness is a very spiritual quality. You know, spirituality is developed in blackness. The baby develops in the mother's womb in darkness. The child is conceived in darkness. The greatest and most mysterious things that take place in this world take place in darkness. The universe was conceived and created in darkness. So for me to be called black is nothing negative. Black is divinity. God was always conceptualized as being black in every ancient African tradition. Every messenger and prophet was black. So like the late great Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad said, blackness is color, consciousness, creativity, and a connection to the creator. So I do not have a problem with being called black, but I do much prefer to be called African.
Okay, but I get the whole concept too of why you don't even...
But I'm going to pick with you for a minute though, my brother. I'm going to pick with you. And this is what I want to pick with you on. How can you be so serious about blackness and our need to identify ourselves with our true origin, but yet you recreating our babies with non-African women? So how do you rectify that contradiction?
And I'm glad you asked that, right? So again, understand, I'm going through motions. I'm still 26 now. Me and her, whatever you want to call her, we're cool, you know what I'm saying? But she's an intelligent woman, besides race, whatever. You know, this is the same conversation I'm having with you, I have with her. So it's not about race. It's about what can I learn from one another? Like, what can we learn from one another?
Okay, let me ask you a question. You said it's not about race. Let me ask you a question.
I'm telling you, that's what my mindset was. You know,
Okay,
like this woman is like, you know, we could share knowledge, like we could talk. You know what I'm saying? Talk about anything.
But you could talk to a black woman about who's going to understand you more, that white woman or a sister. Who's going to understand you more, a black woman or a white woman?
It's rhetorical, you know.
You didn't answer the question.
You know, I mean, honestly.
So it sounds like, and I'm not getting on you, my brother. We just having a brotherly conversation, but it sounds like you are not yet ready to give up your snow bunny card.
I mean,
be honest with me. Be honest with me. You will date another white woman.
Let me tell you, like,
yes or no, and then you can explain. Yes or no. Will you date another white woman?
Probably not.
You said probably. Why is it probably, my brother? Are you mixed race? Are you mixed race?
I'm not.
Okay, so you African.
And I understand, like, you know, if people recreate with different races, that it kind of extincts a race. But again,
no. Listen, mixing with the white woman is not going to extinct us because we are the original seed of God. We can't be extinct. But what it does do is it confuses the consciousness of African people. So your son, that young African, right? Because it don't sound like his white side has any intention in teaching him about his black side. If you're not there to make sure you drill him on who he is, he's going to be confused. Do you see what I'm saying? So it causes a confusion of consciousness, which can be used against our people's progress. That's the issue.
And I want to touch up on it too, real quick. Like, so, you know, and not trying to go all over, but, you know, back in the Constitution, how they use the word bondage and all that type of stuff, I feel like as long as people, and this is just my personal opinion, is, you know, again, white people, they came up red, blue, crip, blood, white, black, da-da-da-da-da. I didn't know. I actually learned today, you know what I'm saying? Like, from you saying everything is black, like, I learned that today. But, you know, from what my mindset was they just threw colors together, told us this was this, and, you know what I mean? This is how you start beefing, whatever. So, when I was able to look past that, you know, I kind of, like, I wouldn't say, like, was biased, because I still love my people, you know what I'm saying? And anything I learned, whether it comes to investing into stocks, flipping property, everybody that I love, that's my culture, I provide that information to.
Right, you know, but let me give you an example, my brother. Okay, when you build your empire, that woman had your seed. So she's going to be able to go after a significant portion of your empire just by virtue of conceiving your son. And she might not use none of that money on your son. That's money that could have been went to the community. It could have went to you building more businesses to hire more black people. I want you to see the economics of this. The psychology and the economics of interracial dating, mating, and reproduction does not benefit us. It is a significant problem because psychologically you confuse the offspring, and economically you rob your community and give to the people who have already robbed us enough. Why give her that leverage to take from your community? Because taking from you is taking from your community because you belong to us. So why give her that leverage to take from your community and give to her own? Haven't they robbed us enough? Haven't they? I mean, damn, they stole us as people, stole our inventions. They steal our music. They steal our culture. They steal our kids. And now you want to give her a baby.
Yeah.
For what?
I mean, is your argument to say that, like black women don't put men on child support too?
Black women do, but she's not doing it because you're black. The black woman is a victim of circumstance created in the context of racism. That white woman would be a racist whether you lived in America, Europe, or anywhere else. Her situation is not a result of context. It is a result of her consciousness.
And it's already too late. I made the baby with her, and that's
well, right, but that ain't my issue with you. My issue with you is it doesn't sound like you are against going back to her. And let me say this. I do got to say this. And some of the listeners might disagree with me. Because that is a child. I will say this, though. I don't have a problem with you going back to her for the sake of your child growing up in the home with both parents. I believe the needs of a child supersedes the agenda of our community. So if you said, Doc, I don't want my son being raised by no white man. I don't want my son being raised by no white man. I'm going back until he's 17, 18, 12, 10. I would support that. But what I'm getting from you is you're very much still open to dating, mating, and reproducing with non-African women.
No. You said with white women?
Anything that's not black. White, Arab, China, I don't care what it is.
What I want to do, like I said, I don't even believe in like going to the custody. I want to get back with the woman, you know, and it's.
But you want to get back with her because you like those vanilla cookies. You're not trying to get back with her to raise your son under the same roof. You just want some more of that vanilla cream cheese.
Not even. You funny, Dr. UMAR.
Listen, man. Seriously, you got to cut.